Hello guys, Fox here, FXRC, coming at you with another custom RC. The Traxxas Rustler 4x4 VXL, I guess, but I no longer have the VXL system in it, so I don't know if you could still call it that, but it definitely came out pretty nice. This is actually an RC that I've had for quite a while, probably at least a year and a half, I guess. And it's one that I've just never really been too excited about. I initially got it, I ran it stock, then I did a few upgrades, some shock towers, and changed the drive shafts because that was a weak spot in this truck. And I just ran it, but it was never really that exciting to me. The VXL system really just pushing it, I guess, and it just for this truck, and it was always hot, and you really didn't get that much speed and excitement out of the truck in stock form. So I never really did much with it, but I always had, I always wanted to. But also too, it had like these kind of weak spots, I guess, which is funny because I did have a Traxxas Slash, and I did have some, I guess, of the same issues, but not as bad as it is with the Rustler. Mainly the axles, the drive shafts, just it's so hard to find a really good aftermarket drive shaft, because you break one or something, and so you think, all right, I'll get a better one. Even I tried MIP, and even those ended up breaking. And honestly, I don't know if there is axle drive shafts for these that are just won't break, or even the actual drive pins behind the hex would go to pretty easy. So I mean, it was just, I don't know, always something with this truck. But I finally said screw it and went ahead anyway, and here she is. So hopefully I do have some new drive axles here, and honestly, I don't even think these are like any kind of name brand. The ones I actually tried before these were the Incision, and they were really good. I didn't actually break any, but what happened would I would bend the end part that the hex goes on, the hub, I guess, that goes into I would bend that, and I could always bend it back, but it's hard to really get it perfect, and then maybe have some wobble. And then actually, it seemed like after you bent it, it would bend even easier. So, I just changed them out. And these are supposedly just some eBay heavy duty, I guess, but they looked like really strong. They kind of seemed like an MIP, but more of a universal and less of a CVD. So I'm hoping I'll have some good luck with these ones, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Anyway, as you can see, I got the Proline 2.8 trenchers. Awesome tire. And it definitely just barely kind of fit with this truck. And I really think that's the genius with these Proline rims, where because I actually initially got these tires for doing my Truckify Typhon. I was gonna, it's time to get some new tires, and I had the Proline MX28 on there, and they're great tires. But I've glued them so many times, and I've been on it for a while, that it just seems like the glue's not holding as well anymore. So it was time to get some new tires on it. And I figured I'd try something different, so I wanted to try the Proline trenches on that. But because they have interchangeable hexes, I could just put the 12 millimeter on these instead of the 17, and there you go. And now they're on the Rustler. So I mean, that's pretty nice that they've thought of that and start doing that, I gotta say. Because initially, actually, was going to put these trenches on there, but because these are only 12 millimeter, but the offset is not enough. See, and now if the offset was not enough on these, I could just put a larger offset. So in order to get these to work, I had to try to find an extended axle, extended hex for the Rustler. And I honestly don't think they make a very extended hex past maybe 10 millimeters that has a bolt on that will stay and work well. I had so much trouble. I actually had the hot racing ones. And I thought that would be probably the best ones I could find. The screw that held on the tire itself looked like a really good, and it wouldn't have any problem, wouldn't break, you know. But the problem, I just couldn't get them to work right and seam right on the truck. Like it would wobble, or in order to get the screw tight enough, it would push so hard onto the pin that it would make the tire stop spinning, and I just couldn't get it to work. So I scrapped that. I'll use these for something else. I don't know what, and now I got these trenches on there, and because I can just put a better offset, it definitely clears. So there you go. But anyway, the Rustler 4x4, and besides the obvious Proline trencher 2.8s, let's see what else is in here. Obviously I got the body savers on there, the whole black and blue theme. And would you look at that? I gotta say, that is one pretty Rustler 4x4. Now, honestly, there's really not a lot of stock left on this. Besides the chassis, the two differentials, some of the slipper clutch, the front and rear bumper, and some hardware maybe, I think that's about it that's left on here from the radio box. You know, there's not a lot left on here. I gotta say, I at least have to have at least, I guess, 1200 in it, but that's being incredibly modest. So yeah, you can see the old VXL system here. So I guess we'll start with the heart, the whole ESCM motor, everything that gives it life. And I went with the Hobby Wing Max 8. And the Hobby Wing, well, I think it's a 4268 2600 kV 4S motor. You know, so obviously this Max 8's overkill for this truck. It's never going to be run on 6S. It would just be insane and pointless. But my goal is to at least get it to 4S. And I like to have an ESC that can, you know, why not have more power than you're going to use, right? So the motor, however, is only capable of 4S, or at least so it says, and 2600 kV. That's pretty good. So this thing should go pretty good. Obviously, because of the power and stuff, I did have to change to an aluminum spur gear. I mean, a metal aluminum steel spur gear. I don't remember. I think it's a no, I don't remember. But I do have a Robinson Racing pinion gear and servo. And for the servo, I have the tried and true, very reliable. I don't know if you can actually get a good look at it in there, but it's the Savox 1210. So that's a very, very good servo. And you know, it's about middle ground, only about $80. But I've had really good luck with them, and it's more than enough for this little truck. So I got all aluminum steering assembly there. And I want to say that's by Atomic RC. An okay company. They may, you know, they're okay, I guess. I guess another one of the big things on here is hot racing. Got the hot racing shock towers right there, and then those are screwed to those beautiful aluminum diff housing. Look at that. And those are by GPM. And honestly, as far as I could tell, GPM is the only company that makes diff housing for the Rustler 4x4. So it didn't really have a lot of options there. If I did, I probably would have went somewhere else. GPM's okay. You kind of hit and miss. They make okay products. Sometimes they work really good, and then sometimes they're just okay. Maybe some servo horns and stuff where they just didn't work at all. But for the most part, I mean, they always you can kind of get them to work okay. Like even the diff, like the bumper, the way it screws in right here, it's not quite right. It makes it a little loose. I had to put some washers in there just to kind of tighten it up so it wasn't so loose. So just kind of stuff like that. It's always in order to get this front one, because they do make obviously this to go onto the stock part of the chassis, but I have an aluminum front part there, as you can see. I believe that's by Atomic RC. But because this is now going into an aftermarket part, it has little fins on the side that you can see on the side. Well, one of them was so low that it just wouldn't allow the actual housing to go into that aluminum bottom piece. So I had to just Dremel off a couple of the fins so it would fit. But it fit, and that's kind of how things kind of went with this truck. Everything kind of just didn't want to line up right, and it took a little bit to kind of even get it, like this whole center dog bone opposed to that whole aluminum rod that Traxxas does. I'd rather have the dog bone, so I figured I'd give it a shot. But because this whole, I don't know what the deal is, but because I also have like that aftermarket hot racing case here, and then I did get the aftermarket there's like a little blue aluminum spacer that goes into the washer that holds that slipper clutch onto this plate pretty much. But into this diff case, the actual gear is nothing really stopping it. You have to insert it for the inside of the gear this way, so there's nothing stopping it from being pushed into the actual back diff, really. So it just made it really difficult to line up. I think that was a super flaw in this. They should have at least made it so that somehow that gear is locked in and it can't go either way, really. But I'd rather it be able to at least just go backwards rather than being able to go into being jammed into that whole rear diff. So I just think that's a design flaw. But anyway, I got the tower or whatever you want, tower center brace, tower to tower brace, and then I got the aluminum battery tray with the Techno straps. I really think Techno make the best straps. They're definitely my favorite. I've had really good luck with them. I've tried a bunch of other straps, but the Techno straps definitely hold up a lot better. So, but this also I think is going to act as a brace, because that's what a pretty good solid piece of aluminum. But it will allow me to get a good 4S size battery in there, so it's perfect. Let's see, I got this all powered on my Spectrum DX5C. I got sway bars, hot racing sway bars in the front and in the rear. We can see those. You can see those sway bars there. Definitely makes a huge improvement with the handling of this truck. I got the heavy duty A-arms, as well as all the aluminum linkage. And then I got the GTR shocks. This thing comes on the Ultra shocks, and those things are terrible. Terrible. This was actually something I did a while ago. So it much better. But even then, I still tried to find an aluminum shock cap for these GTR shocks, and I can't seem to find any that are worth the beans. I found some that were like logoed with a fox on it, but they had terrible reviews about being leaking, and so I gave up on those, and I kept looking, and then eventually I couldn't find any. So I tried to find those again, and I just couldn't find them anywhere. So I don't know if they just stopped because they were just so bad they stopped. But if anybody knows of a good aluminum shock for these GTRs, then I would love to know. Otherwise, I think because I think even with the aluminum shock caps, these shocks aren't awesome, and I might end up going a different route. So I don't know. But anyway, got the hot racing fan mount on that beautiful Hobby Wing 2600 kV motor with the WTF fan, keeping things cool. And I think, what else? Oh, I got all that whole aluminum Traxxas steering. I don't know if it's called what it's called on this. I don't think it's called the C hub in the steering, but whatever it is, it's all aluminum. In the front, and all aluminum in the rear. I really think that's about it. I tried to get everything. I don't know, I might have missed something, who knows. But anyway, that is the first look of my Traxxas Rustler 4x4. I got the aluminum wheels on the back. I tell you, this, like I said, there's really not a lot left from the original truck on this one, but it came out all right. Now, would I suggest going this far into it with this truck? Like if I only had a choice between completely modding out this truck or another truck, I don't know. I probably would pick another one. I might, spend a couple $100 more and go with the Max or something like that, because even though I have all of this in here and this is gonna make a good difference, and maybe I'll change my mind and absolutely just fall in love with this thing again, or fall in love with it for the first time, I guess, because I never truly. I don't know, but because the potential is there, it could be a really cool little truck. If I can just get over some of these, the axles always having problems, and I think just with these larger tires, it's going to continue to be a problem. So, and then putting who knows how much money into this, I just don't think it's necessarily worth it for this truck. But that's what I do, and I did it anyway. So, and I'm holding out hopes that it'll really come together and be something special. So, who knows? We'll see. Like I said, I'm not gonna hold my breath and get the actual top on there. But anyway, there she is. So not a bad little truck. So definitely looks nice. Hopefully things will really hold up, and it can handle that 4S power without being a pain in the butt. But we'll see. Anyway, this is Fox FXRC. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, hitting the like button. It doesn't cost you anything. Thank you so much. Bye.